I lost $835,000 with Caesar.
Why did your guy back up?
As a so-called real estate guru, said he wanted to start a hard money fund. And I want to give full credit, praise, and thank Tony the closer.
Shout out to Tony.
The legal process takes a long time. We have our own people scamming us. Do not give money to people. And he had multiple people, like 10 plus people on each property he was taking money from.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Deli. This is going to be a special one. I'm your host, Money Making Mando, where we cut through all the noise and deliver actionable insight to you and make the information the star. And again, this is going to be a special episode. We're going to be diving into my backstory and my guest, Nigel Chamblin. How are you, Nigel? What's going on, brother?
I'm great, Mando. I'm doing well. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. We've connected. You know, the world brings people together in funny ways, and it's kind of brought us together and under a certain circumstance that we're here to talk about. So yeah, Nigel, kind of share us some of your story. I know you're an investor here in the tri-state area. Let's get into it a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, I've been in real estate for 23 years. I've owned my own business since 2010. I'm a licensed New York State real estate broker. I'm also an investor, house flipper as it's most commonly known. I have done some wholesaling, so very familiar with this space. Of course, selling regular residential properties as well and helping buyers with the same. So basically, this story goes back to August of 2022, and we're talking about obviously the Ponzi scheme with DJ Envy and Cesar Pina and his wife and the other cohorts. I met Cesar in August of 2022.
Let's kind of set the characters who they are, right?
Okay.
Cesar is an investor here in the tri-state area, and he was kind of introduced to us, to the masses, to a radio personality here local to New York City, DJ Envy and the Breakfast Club, right?
Correct.
So that's kind of the premise, where he was kind of introduced to the mass audience, to the Breakfast Club page, radio waves, and that's kind of how this all started to connect. I'm sorry, go ahead, Nigel.
No, that's fine. And that's basically how it all started out, which brought me to August of 2022, because basically DJ Envy, I think it's 105.1, the Breakfast Club, had been promoting Cesar Pina on the airwaves for like the last 5.5 years as a so-called real estate guru. So that's how he got on my radar. I also saw DJ Envy's posts on Instagram, on YouTube. I was well aware of the seminars that they were promoting and doing around the country. So that's how Cesar Pina initially came on my radar, from 5 years of promotion on the Breakfast Club. I was made aware of two gentlemen who have a company called EYL, Earn Your Leisure, Rashad and Troy, and they have events every year called Invest Fest. I went to what I believe is the first one in August of 2022. I also saw Cesar on EYL's platform, so I was additionally made aware of him through that platform. And I would like to say, for the record, EYL, Rashad, and Troy, definitely a breath of fresh air as compared to a lot of nonsense that's going on Instagram. All right, they stand head and shoulders above a lot of platforms in that they're sharing financial information, and it's very helpful to the masses. And if you follow them, a lot of the stuff they put on is very accurate. They're they cover stocks, and they've been very successful. I do have a problem with that platform in regards to not vetting Cesar when they brought him on. They had subsequently made a statement afterwards that people who watch EYL should do their own homework, and that's not good enough. I believe that they should have vetted him first. A lot of the public believes or takes at face value what they see on Instagram and the news and the media. So I do fault them in that regard. That's what I want to say about them. So I went to Invest Fest. I attended Invest Fest in August of 2022, where I met Cesar at an event. We exchanged numbers, and we kept in contact from August of 2022 through to December of 2022, where he came to me and he said he wanted to start a hard money fund. I asked him if he had a deck. He said yes. He sent me the deck. The deck was impressive. I sent it to my associates who are financially able to back a venture of the magnitude that he was asking for. He was asking for $100 million to start a hard money fund. Yeah. And I have the connections to people who can back that type of venture. So we had our first meeting in January of 2023. We had numerous meetings afterwards, which lasted for about 5 months. So we're from January 2023 to May of 2023. In May of 2023, my associate called me and said he's backing out of backing Caesar. He stated that Caesar wanted too much control of the money, and he wasn't going to give Caesar control of, that amount of capital. Before that, though, things were going so well, we had a celebratory dinner a month before, in the 4th month.
Awesome.
So I'm thinking things are, looking pretty good. However, in a hard money fund where we're lending money out across the United States, and I want to also add that DJ Envy was present in one of these meetings via Zoom, and we have evidence of that. So, and in DJ Envy's part in this was, one, as Caesar's partner, and two, to promote this hard money fund in the, I believe, 50 or more markets across the United States. So Caesar promoted it. Caesar launched it. DJ Envy was supposed to be the promotional leg of it. So in the 4th month, I'm thinking if we start this hard money fund, we're not going to get revenue for at least 8 to 9 months after, because we have to lend out the money to investors. Investors have to invest it. They have to do what they have to do with it. Then we get, our money back plus whatever we're charging. So that's a process. So I'm figuring I'm going to have to continue house flipping, which is what I was doing at that time. And so I approached Caesar, and I was telling him, what my dilemma was. It wasn't really a dilemma. We were having a conversation, and then he offered to me to come flip houses with him. And I'm like, seems like a good opportunity. And that's how he kind of lined me up, so to speak. I'm thinking, we're discussing $100 million deal. This guy's not going to rob me for just under $1 million. I lost $835,000 with Caesar. And I was wrong. And I didn't perform my regular protocols, like have my attorney involved, my company name on a deed, doing my due diligence as far as title searches. I'm figuring, this is a well-known guy. He's promoted on the airwaves. He's running around with a few known artists in the industry, all promoted through the Breakfast Club and DJ Envy. So, he duped a lot of people, myself included.
Yeah, I guess it put you at ease, right? Going back to because you said you was impressed by his deck, so he seemed kind of knowing some competency was there, right? And I guess the platform that he was introduced to kind of gave him again some legitimacy, right? So it's kind of putting people at ease, thinking, wow, what can go wrong, right? Who would promote someone on air, bring someone on to the masses and say, hey, we're here to help our community. We kind of feel like we've been an underdog for so long, especially in economic circumstances, investment states. We're going to take a leap forward and be conduits to a new way of life, let's say, and new opportunities for our community, let's say, right? Absolutely.
And the deck, I want to add, was professionally done. He had a finance guy on the deck. His name is Marcus Asante. Marcus has a degree in finance, a master's degree in finance. So the deck was supremely put together. DJ Envy was on the deck. Caesar was on the deck. Rapper 50 Cent's likeness and description was on the deck. Marcus was on the deck, and a few other people. So the deck was very impressive, absolutely. So that's how, in essence, I came to one, meet Caesar, and two, end up investing with him. But all along he was probably lining me up, because it's to my understanding now that he was approaching a few other people to do this same hard money fund with the numbers he was talking about.
So he was already reaching that space. He was sniffing around to get into that bigger echelon, those bigger numbers, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Why did your guy back up? Why was it in the deck, or why was it that he got a feeling or something? You said control. What exactly was he looking for under control, let's say?
Okay, so the hard money fund was a two-pronged approach. It was, my mentor was putting up money to back the venture. It was also an acquisition leg, where when we came across any deals that were apartment buildings deals, so to speak, Caesar wanted to be able to act quickly and not have to go through the channels with my mentor to access the money, but get the money and jump on these deals. This is what he was saying. And there was a number of conversations with my mentor, my associate, that, I just wasn't on because of the business I was doing. So I was on some calls, I wasn't on others. So some way, somehow, my guy, who's very, very astute, things weren't adding up for him. And eventually he's like, you know what? I'm backing out. Quickly, January, March, April, May of 2023, when my associate, my mentor, backed out, I was quickly able to reach out to another associate of mine who has the capital to pull something like a hard money fund off. And I did set up a meeting with Caesar, myself, that gentleman, and Marcus. And that gentleman was interested. A couple, 2 or 3 weeks after, I started hearing things about Caesar and negative things, and things started not to add up. So the other gentleman, Marcus, he advised me to reach out to my other associate and tell him, look, things are coming apart at the seams, and to advise him what was going on. And I did that after about a week and a half. And that gentleman basically told me, look, I'm too high up to be bothered with this at this point. This is not something that I want to get involved in after you telling me this. And I thanked him, and he basically, we had a long talk, and he basically left the door open for me. He said, listen, I can't get into this with you, but if you have anything else, my door is open. And I was thankful for that. And I was lucky enough to get to him before this story broke. Because had I not, that door would have been closed to me. And that gentleman is definitely someone who I still have a relationship with. So that's how that happened. And so I also want to just backtrack a little, and I want to give full credit, praise, and thank Tony the closer.
Shout out to Tony.
Shout out to Tony, who had the wherewithal, the intelligence, the sixth sense to smell something was off here, and to come out the gate very hard and break this story against DJ Envy and Caesar. Tony is an incredible guy, very smart. A lot of people don't know this guy is college educated, but he's just a beast and very intelligent.
Without his voice, his persistence, his go-get-em attitude, right? Just for someone who's been so unjust, right? He was truly bothered by it. And he was the impetus of us literally get moving along, right? So shout out to Tony. Appreciate, man.
Shout out to Tony the closer. Great guy. And also I would like to thank Sarah Wallace for
Wallace as well.
Yep, taking Tony's launch and pushing it even further to make it a national story. So Sarah Wallace, thank you. Tony the closer, absolute thanks and praise. And that I just want to make sure that's stated, that's said. So that's where we are. DJ Envy right now is trying to drag a lot of the victims in court. He's not answering interrogatories.
How the story broke? When did you, you hearing rumblings? When did you hear, like, when the story broke? Like, oh man, this is something going on here for real. Like,
I actually have a friend of mine who's a developer out on Long Island. His name is Ray William Ramirez. Great guy, young guy, flipping a lot of houses on Long Island. I had told Caesar about him, and he came to me. He called me one day and he sent me a post. He said, Nigel, look what's going on with Caesar. And that's how I basically found out. And then I called Caesar, and of course Caesar was like, no, that's just disgruntled people and blah blah blah. So he was trying to play it off. So I'm like, okay, so that's how I found out, through a friend of mine. That's where it all started. And then the way I eventually filed a lawsuit. I waited till August. I found out about the scandal when it broke, January, March, April, May, June, around that time. And I waited till August to launch a lawsuit because I was trying to give Caesar the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, this guy is coming across one way. They're talking about him in the media, and I needed some time to sort things out. And as soon as I did some background research and I found out what was really going on, and we did traces on the houses, I did my due diligence way after the fact. I found out, okay, this guy is gaming. And I didn't call him and tell him. I just launched the lawsuit. So he heard about the lawsuit when everybody else heard about the lawsuit, when Tony the closer and Common Sense Eli had a live, and Tony the closer announced my company on his live. And as he's announcing it, I'm kind of surprised that he had found out about it. So I had texted him because I was in communication with him before, trying to reach out to him, trying to find some information. And he kind of like blew me off. He's like, do your own research, what are you bothering me for, type thing. And I was like, all right, cool, no problem. But then when he was on his live speaking about my lawsuit, I hit him on the DMs, and he was like, wait a minute, he's hitting me now, and then he says, I'm going to call you tomorrow. And I also want to shout out, and I can't forget Common Sense Eli. Right. Yep. And shout out also to JT, the pocket watcher, I believe he's called. But I really want to shout out Common Sense Eli, because Common Sense Eli is a brilliant guy. He's been calling out a lot of these scammers way ahead of time, and everybody tries to talk about Common Sense Eli like he's a hater or he's an Uncle Tom and all of this nonsense. Common Sense Eli's a brilliant guy, and he knows and senses BS from the gate. So shout out to Common Sense Eli. Also, I got full
Shout
respect.
out to Common Sense. Word.
Absolutely, JT the Pocket Watcher.
Shout out.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm involved in this as well. You know, I started to share my story as well. And I was able to be with Sarah Wallace on Monday, and I'd air here in the local airwaves here in New York City yesterday
Correct.
at 5:30 at our local news station here. Sarah Wallace is a stalwart here. She's been on the air for 30 years, you know, and she's really taken hold to the story. She just can't believe that these people did this to our communities, right? They lured us in. They want us to be part of it. They were bringing something, and this is the end result, right? This is what we get. We get robbed. We get robbed out of our funds. They're telling us they want to help and grow our communities, right? And that opens us up for opportunities that we seek, right? We're like, wow, there's people out here who looking for opportunities, looking for more than what they have, right? And they may have some savings attached to that. And I say, wow, man, these guys are super credible. They're on the airwaves. You assume that, they're going to do the right thing by you. That's what they're preaching. We're here to help you guys and grow together. Mm-hmm. And none of that happened. None of that happened. Nothing, not even close. No accountability, no responsibility. All we get in the short end of the stick as we go through this process, the litigations that move super slow. Hopefully these court systems, it's like, take your time and hurry up. Hopefully something gets expedited and starts the ball rolling, because it's a damn shame that, this is the bag we're left to held.
The legal process takes a long time, and I understand it. Sure. But these judges, they're not stupid. They're going to figure this out. They probably already have, but they have to abide by the law. But these judges aren't stupid. I also want to shout out to the federal authorities who are fully involved in this and working very hard and gathering information. And definitely a lot of the victims we are in contact with the feds. Every bit of information we get, and I don't care who doesn't like it. All right. They promoted, Caesar and Envy promoted this to the Black and brown community. And it's so crazy how we get the ball. And every time we get the ball, we fumble the ball. All right. I have friends who are different nationalities and different colors. And it's just a shame, we are looking bad on the world stage, and certain people who are not Black and brown aren't dealing with us. And they're like, this is why,
This is literally why. This is exhibit A. Literally, look.
Yeah, we have our own people scamming us. We have DJ Envy, we have Cesar Pina, we have Jay Morrison, and the list goes on. See, Tony the Closer has a list of people that he put out that are scamming people. These people are actually scamming people. And Tony the Closer he's not just shooting in the air or coming out on the airwaves talking about these people. He has actual proof that other people have sent him, people who have been scammed. He's not, pulling this out of thin air, and it's a shame. So, one of the things I want to tell, I just want to reiterate that being in real estate, there's a couple of things that you should do. And, one, if you have your own properties, if you have a house, your parents have a house, aunts, uncles, whatever, put these houses in a trust. Don't let them just be out here, where they could be accessed. They could be scammed. They could be leveraged. If you have a house, put it in a trust so it could be protected. Don't wire anybody money.
Sure.
Unless you have a specific person it's going to, and you shouldn't even be wiring it to a person. You should be wiring it to either an escrow company or an attorney's IOLA account. Correct. Those are insured. Don't make any moves without a lawyer. Have your company. Don't make any moves in real estate unless your company is on the deed of the property that you're purchasing. Do not give money to people to then turn around and invest and then give you a return. All right. Anything could happen to that person. They could scam you. They could die. And those people have heirs that might have a claim. If everything isn't laid out, then you're going to be chasing money, kind of like we are in the legal system for a long time. We've been at this lawsuit now for about a year and a half. I'm ready to carry this lawsuit on for another at least 2.5 years. And, DJ Envy and Caesar are trying to wind us out in court, but I have the resources to chase these guys for a very long time. So, good luck trying to wind us out,
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. But do have a lawyer, do have your company name on the deed, do a title search on all properties, because Caesar told me that I invested in 3 properties totaling 835,000, and he told me that he was getting these properties from auction.com. He had owned these properties years before, and he had multiple people, like 10 plus people on each property he was taking money from. So they were over leveraged. That's what he was doing. If I would have did a quick title search, I would have found that, he had owned these properties years prior, and then he was like over leveraging them. When he showed me these 3 houses, they were all vacant and down to the studs, so they looked like they needed renovation, of course. So he lined me up and he caught me. Good for him. But now he's under federal indictment, and he's out in his house in Franklin Lakes, and he has a ankle monitoring bracelet, but he's not going to be out forever. And what the general public doesn't know also is the fact that he came on the Breakfast Club and told everybody he had a problem. He had a arrest in 2006 for credit fraud, and he was being so forthcoming about that information. What he did not tell the public is he also has a 5K 1.1 motion on him, which is an agreement he made with the federal authorities where they cut his sentence down considerably and pushed him back out into the public so he could bring the feds bigger fish. He's the highest form of a rat there is in jail.
That's what's called queen for a day.
Exactly. I've talked to a lot of people. I know an array of people, and they said in jail and in prison, the last thing you want to be is a child molester or a high-level rat like Caesar is. So, I want that out there in the public too. You're running around, and he was running around in Paterson, New Jersey. He's this, he's that. You're looking to turn bigger criminals in. If you want to be in law enforcement, you should just went into law enforcement. And not out here trying to purport to be in real estate. But that's what's going on out here. And there's a lot of other things. And DJ Envy still has a lot of people around him. He has this guy, I'll call him Fat Garland, the mortgage guy. FG, the mortgage guy. This guy is trying to sell courses. He's at InvestFest. He wants you to buy his books, but this guy won't give you 3 minutes on a phone call. I actually happened to run into him at a restaurant about a month or so ago.
Yeah.
Sent him a note. I wanted to have a conversation with him, a civil conversation. He just got up and walked out. Like, they don't even want to talk. I ran into DJ Clue. At least DJ Clue gave me the courtesy of a conversation, and we had a civil conversation. After he found out what the conversation was about, he wasn't so talkative, but okay. We parted ways, and that was that. But this guy, Fat Garlic, he didn't even want to speak. And, he's running around out here. He's one of DJ Envy's boys. Birds of a feather flock together. These guys want your money. They want you to buy their courses. They're running around flossing heavy, but won't give you a 2-minute conversation. And my angle with reaching out to Caesar and this guy Garlic is to try to bring people together so we can make major moves. I've been in real estate a long time. I don't need any of these guys. I got my own money. I got my own backing. But I'm like, maybe we can get together and put our people together and do something really great. I got a lot of ideas that aren't fantasies. They could happen. But when they see another man of color, or I don't know, they get all defensive, or they don't want to do anything, or they think, we need something from them. And I'm much older than these guys. I have everything I need for the rest of my life. I don't need you guys. So, but in the spirit of trying,
they say it's like they say, collaboration over competition. And you're wise enough to know, wow, these young guys, these gentlemen, they look like they're aspiring, right? So you're building a big brother or uncle, man. I can leverage myself in here with my connections as well, and I have a vision that we can collaborate and create something, because this looks like what's been fostered, right, from the outside looking in, until you really found out that this is,
These guys have no clue who I'm connected to, and I'm not out here flossing heavy or driving an expensive car or wearing a lot of jewelry or hanging out at expensive restaurants. By design, I'm flying below the radar. I don't have to show where I've been, who I know, what I'm doing.
You're not driven by ego.
The goal is first law of nature is self-preservation. Preserve your health, and everything else will be fine. It'll work out, but these guys are clueless, DJ Envy running around here He bought a car over $600,000 recently. You know, this guy is from the same neighborhood I'm in. He's not built like that. He's not out here with wearing jewelry back in the day and, you know, this, that, and the third. He's not that. He's not a street dude, you know, but this is what he's purporting. You know, he wants to run around. Oh, he's this, he's that. He's innocent. He's saying nothing about what happened. He's acting like nothing's going on. But, you know, we're behind the scenes. We see, you know, this guy has got problems. And we have evidence to show that he knew what was going on more than a year and a half before the story broke, you know, but he wants to act like he knows nothing. And his attorney wants to act like that. But when we get in court, they're going to see. The last place Envy wants to end up is in front of a jury, because we are going to wash them. And this is not talk, this is fact. So good luck. You know, that's all. That's what I have to say to you guys. I think that his attorney's name is Marchese. You know, good luck. You know, good luck, gentlemen. We have evidence. And that's all I say about that.
For sure. Exactly. They open up Pandora's box, and now, you know, you deal with those consequences, right? And I'm sure they have a cloud of anxiety that hangs over them every day, right? They could be smiling and do whatever, but they know, man, there's people out here that's moving and shaking in the streets as well, on the side of justice and righteousness, who just want their rightful returns back and made whole. Literally, exactly. That's all that people want.
And you look at this, even if you look at this from a karma level, you know, let's push all the victims to the side for a minute. And there's 21 plus lawsuits going on. There's more than 40 victims. And that's of the victims who have come forward. I know specifically of one victim who's lost 5.7 million, and he doesn't want to come forward. He's doing very well, but I believe he's afraid. All right. But let's push all the victims to the side for a moment. All of these victims have families and they have kids. And a lot of the money that the victims lost were for those kids, because everybody who has kids knows when you have kids, it's not about you. It's about the kids. And exactly. So these people invested their money to help themselves and help their kids along. And now their kids don't have the money. Let's not talk about maybe some of these kids who might even have a health problem or be sick. So if you push all the victims aside, the bad luck and the karma that's going to come on to all of these clowns based on what they did that affected the kids, the innocent kids, by the laws of nature, these guys aren't going to prosper or get far. It just doesn't add up. The universe doesn't work that way, you know? But I digress.
And that's the profile of the people that were attracted to these seminars and conventions, people that had some type of hope, some type of income, some type of a savings to be like, you know what, this is my time to, you know, grow and do something, right? Back to bringing us together as a tribe, right? Kind of, that was the impetus, right? And if you showcase this to the masses on a radio and you do it continually, because Caesar wasn't on just one time, he had a run on this show, just being on and on and on. And the laws of repetition, like a bad record, if you hear it long enough, you're gonna end up loving it, right? So you take the same concept. This guy keeps on going on and you know, keeps coming on the show. The rest of the guys keep coming and he's edifying them. People are going to start cementing and believes and be like, man, this is the place to be, man. I got to surround myself with these people.
The media is very powerful. We all know that. This goes all the way up to even iHeartMedia, all right? iHeartMedia, Bob Pittman, they're culpable in this, all right? They let this thing go on for 5 years. They didn't vet Caesar, okay? I happen to know that DJ Envy has two superiors, Thea Mitchum, I believe, and Doc Winter. Nothing goes on the airways without going through those two, okay? And this guy, Bob Pittman, from what I understand, had prior cases of payola, you know? And the last thing that iHeartMedia wants is for them to be brought up on charges of payola. So, you know, there's culpability here on iHeartMedia wants to, you know, they're making money off of the Black and brown community. A lot of the advertising on their radio stations are geared towards Black and brown people. And a lot of it, some of it is not positive. Because if you listen to different radio stations, there's different things being pushed on different people. All right. This is clear to anybody who's smart enough to watch what's going on. So Bob Pittman, iHeartMedia, Thea Mitchum, Doc Winter, they all are culpable. You know, this is not going to end with just DJ Envy. All right. This has to go all the way up the chain. All right. I want my money back and the opportunity costs of losing that money. All right. And I'm not going to stop until I am made whole. All right. So we have to understand this. A lot of the victims, there's a couple of victims who do have deep pockets, and we're not stopping. I want to shout out to also Anthony Barone.
Shout out to Anthony.
And Anthony Martini. But Anthony Barone, very intelligent guy, very forceful guy, a thinker, a strategist. He's well financed. And he's been very instrumental in mobilizing all of the victims. I am happy. I'm not happy that he got scammed. I'm happy that I was able to meet him and we're working together. There's also another gentleman. I don't know if he wants to be mentioned, but he's very instrumental too. And I'll keep his name quiet for now, but he knows who he is. He's one of the top 2-3 people who are driving this whole movement as far as the victims. And understand that all of the victims are mobilized. We're in communication with each other. We're sharing information. We have our ear to the streets. We have people in the streets. We have people in the entertainment industry. We are connected and mobilized. All right. So that's just what it is. This is not going to stop. And I do believe the general public already also knows that Caesar stole money from the huge Latin artist Don Omar. I don't think that's a secret at this point. We're all connected, so good luck trying to get anything over us or past us. You might for a minute. We're on this. We're living this for the last year and a half. We talk every week, at least 2 times a week. I'm on the phone with Anthony Barone practically every day, and 2 and 3 times a day. All right. So, and we're working in conjunction with the feds. We're fully cooperating with them. They've been brilliant. The feds won't tell you anything, but they damn sure will receive that information. And we are happy to give it to them. These seminars that DJ Envy and Caesar were running, they were funnels. They were bringing people in. And then once you went to these seminars, they gave you the schmeal. They pushed the black and brown agenda. Envy said he wants to help his people. Who has he helped? Show me where the people are that he helped or wanted to help. Where are they? And then they had breakout sessions after these seminars where you can go and talk to them individually, and that's where they start seeing who has money, who doesn't, who wants to buy, like the guy, Fat Garlic, he's selling his courses and his books. So some people go to him, some people go to Caesar, some people go to Envy. Envy was purporting that he had over 2,000 properties. Where are the deeds to those properties? These are lies. This is going to be unraveled in the court. We're laying everything out. It's a process. But again, the court system has laws they have to abide by. But these judges aren't stupid. Okay, they're judges because they're way above average intelligence. They're putting all of this together. All right, so that's where we are. We have to go through the process.
Nigel, you've been so forthcoming to the audience. I appreciate you for being a stalwart, being a leader. Like I said earlier, a tip of the spear, and with Anthony Barone as well, just guiding us through this journey, this storm, right? And there's a rainbow on the other side, right? We will get there.
We will.
We have justice on our side. We're righteous. We have a just cause for what we're doing. And again, thank you so much for appearing. Any last thoughts for our audience?
There's so much I could say on this topic. Again, I want to make sure the audience knows that if you're investing and you want to do it through a known investment firm, that's one thing. Again, don't give anybody money to invest. Okay, take your money, form a corporation, have your corporation on the deed to that property. Do not give someone money without a deed, without an attorney involved, and without your name again on the company, and without doing a title search on the prospective property you want to invest in. You can't sit back and I call it sit back investing. Oh, let me just give you 50,000, use it and just give me back a little something. You're sure to lose your money. And even if they're not scamming you, again, if these people die and you don't have any paperwork with them, there's no evidence that you gave money to someone to invest and they passed away. You just have to, again, secure yourself. Another good piece of advice, again, put your house in a trust. Do estate planning. A lot of Black and brown people do not do estate planning. Spend the money. If it's $5,000, $8,000, $9,000, but you have 1 or 2 houses in your family, the amount of capital gains tax you're going to pay is about 100,000 or more. So you might as well spend 8,000 and put your heirs as beneficiaries on the trust versus letting your house go into probate.
Probate, you don't want none of that.
Which is a fee. There's a probate fee, and it's anywhere from 5 to 20%. And people don't realize this. Put your house in a trust, do estate planning, and keep your houses out of probate. All right, very important. I mean, golden. If you, the biggest store of wealth with Black and brown people are in the real estate, and we're not protecting that. We're losing on all ends. It's ridiculous. Black people, and specifically, our net worth headed towards 2040 is going down. It's not going up. Spanish people have surpassed Black people in home ownership. These are facts. Look them up. That doesn't mean we pit ourselves against each other. No, we work hard, we get together, and we continue to build. That's what it is. You understand? Sure. Anyway else divided, we're going to fall. We're failing. This is my goal in trying to get certain people together. My guy I mentioned before, Ray William Ramirez, he's out on Long Island, very receptive. We're doing business together now. Great guy. I don't need him. He doesn't need me. But we're together. We share information. It's amazing what you can find out when you know different people. And all you got to do is be genuine. Correct. It is what it is. But those are my final words for now. But I have a lot more to say. Just things aren't really prevalent on my mind right now because it's actually, late in the evening and it's been a long day for me. I've been up since 6:30. But yeah, happy to be on here. Happy to speak about what's going on. It was my intention to reach out to certain people who didn't want to speak with me just to have a civil conversation. I'm not coming to you violently. I'm not coming to you threatening you. That's not what it is. I'm a businessman. I'm not a pushover, but, I want to open up lines of communication, even if there is a problem. Maybe there was some type of resolution. Maybe Envy, with all the people he knows, could have had a brain in his head if he really cared about Black and brown people, and put some of these artists together and maybe had a big concert. And maybe that concert could have been like a fund to help the victims of what Caesar did. You guys are seeing so much money, and you're buying expensive cars. You got an expensive house. We know where he lives. We know what he drives. We know who he's around. We got all the research, but you guys he's not trying to help anybody, but you can use your brain, pay these people back their money. They do Summer Jam, which is not even a 105.1 thing. It's another radio station, but do something like that. They have big artists who've thrown concerts for charity. This is a charity. Envy, do a charity and pay back the victims. You want to purport to be down for the victims, yet something breaks and you run and hide. That's coward moves. That's a coward's move. Come out here, get in front of it, see how you could help. I reached out to Envy. He knows who I am. I never seen him face to face. Eventually I'll run into him. I'm all over the place, but he knows who I am, clearly knows who I am, I wanted to have a conversation. He won't return. I got his cell phone number, I reached out to him. Hey, let's have a conversation, nothing.
No one knows anything now.
I want to be quiet, You're not getting away with this, B. You are not getting away with this.
It's not happening. You dealing. You're gonna deal this. We're gonna deal this hand. Nigel, a pleasure having you. We'll do some follow-ups and we'll keep the story prevalent and alive as long as we're around. Again, thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
So much as well.
I appreciate speaking with you about it. Thank you for having me on here, and have a great night.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Be well.